Hey guys, welcome to another Facebook Live Golf Tip of the Week with Dr. Nate Hoover,
Dr. Jared Hutter.
over at Optimal Physical Therapy. We'll be heading over to Lake Mills Golf Club here shortly to play our round. We have a few things that you guys can practice on the range that can help replicate some of the situations you might get on the golf course. We'll talk through it. Also a few things that you can do that impact your swing path that can change ball flight. So we're going to be playing with stance, and this is best to do on the range as drills to really focus in on how does the ball flight change, but then also how do I feel when I come back to my normal stance position. So first, Dr. Jared will demo here just normal stance position, so addressing the ball, the slight knee bend, feet about shoulder width apart, perfect. So now we're going to play with it, we're going to mess around with this a little bit. His target is straight down the turf here, so his toes are lined up pretty straight. The first thing we'll do is we'll play with his foot positioning to facilitate more of a drop or a bend of the ball to the left while it's in the air. So if he drops his rear foot back, and he can do this a little bit or he can exaggerate it. If it's exaggerated, he'll feel it a little bit more and it may turn into a hook instead of a drop. And then have a full swing here, so go ahead and swing. Good. And what you'll notice when he's in his backswing is that closing down or that turning in on that rear hip right there. This is also going to facilitate more of that ability to rotate through the thoracic spine to that end range, so he can be here and allow him to get through the ball, driving then that fade, that hook or that draw motion with the ball. So the ball flight goes to the left. Conversely, if he brings his rear foot forward, that's going to facilitate a bit more of the fade or the slice. Now this is a lot of times what I had mentioned in the past is what an amateur golfer's miss or their bad shot is a fade or a slice. So this is something you can do on purpose on a dogleg right, or do on the range just to help work into that extra buffer of motion. And then you come back to your regular swing after you've hit 3, 4, 5 balls with that changed foot position. And now things back in neutral should feel a little bit different, a little bit better, and hopefully you're hitting that straight ball that you're looking for. We can play with a couple other things with our stance when we're on the range, again, to work into that buffer or to kind of stress the range of motion. And then when we come back to neutral, go, okay, yeah, that feels a lot better. So one of them is rotation, so turning the toes in and pointing the toes towards one another. We'll go ahead and take a couple swings like that, Dr. Jared. Now something like this really closes down or reduces a lot of the motion that's available. So you'll notice like he even lost that turning in on the front foot. So go ahead and try it again and reset. This can sometimes feel like when you're in really squishy or soft sand, you're in a bunker that you're locked down in on where you feel like you can't move a whole lot or have that slide of the hip like we've talked about in previous weeks. When you go back to your regular swing, you should feel like your hips are able to move a little bit more, you're a little bit more stable, and you'll be able to allow for that slide in the hips forward when he's transitioning to that impact zone. Turning the toes out, pointing both of them away, you can exaggerate it a bit. Hey, nice shoes. The turning out can allow for loading of that hip a bit more, and this is a time where we need to feel like a little bit more stable. So this can sometimes be where we're on an incline decline, need to have a little bit more stability and allow for us to come into that follow through. So again, best to do these drills on the range with actually hitting balls. It can be helpful to see what the result is, what the flight path is, especially with the dropping the heel back or bringing it forward. That would be the first one that I would play with on the range and see what it does to the trajectory of your ball. For those of you who are missing often to the right, it can be something that can correct that, and dropping that back foot back a little bit can be. Hope you guys enjoy that. Comment with any questions, and have a good weekend.